or George Karl, sorry. Um, but again, I think this team is really good. They have Ty Lawson, a great point guard, arguably one of the top 5 point guards in the West. You have Kenneth Faried. JaVale McGee is a developing up-and-coming player. Again, this team, if it wasn't for Golden State just shooting out of their minds, again, they'd probably be in the second round, but it's a good team. The team with a lot of upside, a team that could get to the Western Conference Finals, the LA Clippers. They re-signed Chris Paul, which, again, he didn't look like he was going to leave anyway. And getting Doc Rivers was absolutely huge. Again, if they can develop Blake Griffin, if he could become a more physical player and not that quote-unquote soft player that, again, a lot of this league considers that he is, yeah, this team could compete. DeAndre Jordan be a good player. And they got a couple of additions in the offseason, J.J. Redick, who many believe is a better shooter now than he was in college. And that's saying a lot. Again, he's learned to adapt to the NBA game. Very good. And Jared Dudley, again, a good shooter. Inconsistent, but when he's on, he's on. And that's going to provide huge depth off the bench for the LA Clippers. So I think this team has a lot of upside. Memphis, they haven't done a lot in the offseason. To be honest, I mean, this team got to the Western Conference Finals last year. I don't see it this year. I think losing O.J. Mayo was probably... Rudy Gay. Losing Rudy Gay was probably not a great idea. I mean, this guy can score, but... And they have a new head coach, so it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. I mean, they had a good year, 56 wins. Really good. First time the Western Conference Finals in franchise history. So, again, will they be able to move up? I don't know. Another team that I think can get to the Western Conference Finals, Golden State. I mean, this team can shoot, and this team can rebound a lot. I mean, last year they were 7th in points per game, a little over 100, and 3rd in rebounds per game. When you look at this roster as is right now, you have Steph Curry. When he's healthy, and I mean, this was probably his healthiest season. When healthy, yeah, he's a good player. He's a great player. Last year, averaging 22 points, 6 assists, almost 7, a couple rebounds a game. Yeah, he's a good player. I guess the emergence of Klay Thompson, absolutely huge. Those two guards, wow, they are probably the best backcourt in basketball right now. I mean, this team can flat out shoot. When you have a healthy David Lee, yeah, they're a good team. Andrew Bogut, this team can get to the Western Conference Finals. If not, I think they can get to the NBA Finals if they're healthy. They slipped up huge against a much more experienced San Antonio team, but I'm sure those lessons are going to be ingrained in their head. They're going to think about that all season. And when they get back to it, yeah, this team can compete with the Clippers for the Pacific, and they can compete to get to the NBA Finals. I think they're kind of like a Duke team. They can win national titles, they can win games, but when it matters in the playoffs, when it matters in the NCAA tournament, can they hit the big shots? So we'll see. The LA Lakers, we'll get to them in a minute. The Houston Rockets, obviously one of the bigger teams in the offseason. Signing Dwight Howard. Again, this can go one of two ways. I mean, they were 2nd in points per game, 7th in rebounds, 6th in assists, but they allowed a lot of points. They allowed 102 points per game. They seemed like they were the Golden State Warriors a couple years ago. What Dwight Howard is going to do, he's going to reassure that defense on the interior. I mean, when you have a guy like Dwight Howard, again, when healthy, he's a really good player. He's a 20-10 guy. I think, personally, he could be a 30-20 guy if the point guards can give him the ball. I mean, Jeremy Lin's a good player. Patrick Beverley developed a lot in the postseason. You have Chandler Parsons out in the wing. And, of course, you have James Harden. So, when this team gets a player like Dwight Howard, yeah, I mean, it's going to provide – Omer Asik will provide some huge depth. I mean, if these two can play together, oh, wow, this team can get to the NBA Finals, no doubt. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to be tough because they're going to need a good point guard, and that's the key to get to the West. I mean, when you look at the rosters as is right now, Oklahoma City, you have Russell Westbrook. San Antonio, you have Tony Parker. Denver, you have Ty Lawson. The Clippers, you have Chris Paul. Memphis, you have Mike Conley. Golden State, you have Steph Curry. So, I mean, these are good players. So Houston's going to need development of a point guard to get to the NBA Finals. To the Western Conference Finals, and I think they can do it. So, but yeah, a lot of the pressure will rely on Dwight Howard in his interior presence in the post and his ability to score. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of big men that are willing to teach this guy the offensive game. He's raw offensively, but if he can get going, he'll be a force in the Western Conference for years to come. Now with the LA Lakers, obviously, they're not going to make the playoffs. I highly doubt that. Kobe Bryant's going to be out till maybe January, February. They waived Metta World Peace, and I mean, when you have a 38, 39 Steve Nash, Pau Gasol, yeah, this is going to be a really bad team for years to come. So enough said about that. In the Eastern Conference, you have Miami, obviously clear-cut number one. They're great. They're a great team. They re-signed Ray Allen, no doubt, who made probably the biggest shot in the postseason in the last couple years. He's a good player. Indiana at number 2 probably in the East. Yeah, they're going to be a good team. They're going to be better. They have Danny Granger back. That adds a lot more scoring. So I think this Indiana team, provided with a lot of depth, will be good. I think they're the team to compete with Miami. Brooklyn is a wild card. I think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I do not think they can get to the NBA Finals because of the lack of depth. They did sign Andrei Kirilenko for a couple years. Obviously, that relationship with Mikhail Prokhorov was huge. Kirilenko played on Prokhorov's team back in Russia a couple years ago, back when he was a younger player. But, I mean, this is aging Andrei Kirilenko. Granted, this is probably the best starting 5 in the East, if not the NBA. If you look at it, you have Darren Williams at the point, Brooke Lopez at center, and then you have Paul Pierce, KG, and Joe Johnson. Yeah, on paper it's a good team, but a lot of this talent's aging, and how long is this window going to stay open? Maybe a year or 2 tops. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough without a doubt. So we'll see what happens from there. Looking at the rest of the East, I mean, the only other team I can think of is Chicago, really. Chicago's probably the team in the East that can also compete with Miami when you have a healthy Derrick Rose. This roster has developed a lot in the postseason. A lot of them had significant playing time. A lot of the players, 10, 11, 12th man on the bench, played against Miami in the second round. They learned a lot. This team's going to be really good next season. And again, if you have a healthy Derrick Rose, yeah, it's going to be an explosive team moving forward. All right, we're going to take a short break, but after the break, I'll talk to you about the highly anticipated NFL season win totals and what do I think will happen. We'll play some over and under, so that should be exciting. And a couple of players in a free Hernandez cap. We'll tell you who that is. We'll tell you who those players are in a minute. So here is some more music. You are listening to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone on Spreaker Radio.
Just in case I face another wrong way, I feel I have to say, go, don't wanna run away. like. Maybe they'll get some rest and forget what you like. I got a red motorcycle that I drive at night. I got a mind full of mischief, but I can't do it right. I hope you see me trying to laugh and know what it's like. Maybe they'll get some rest and forget what you like. Summer rolls away, now my way is safe. And then I found my place, another big display. I feel I have to say, go, just run on, run away. No.
And welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone, and I'm your host, Sam Cerrone. All right, before I get to the what Vegas says could be the win totals for some NFL teams, here's some breaking news coming out of SportsCenter in the last 20 minutes. The Broncos and left tackle Ryan Clady have agreed to a 5-year, $57.5 million contract, including $33 million guaranteed. I mean, this guy's really good. He's probably one of the top left tackles in the league. Going to protect Peyton Manning's blind side. So, yeah, deserves the money, well-deserved. People are saying, yeah, it falls a couple years short of Joe Thomas's $40 million deal. But, hey, believe me, I would take $33 million guaranteed in a heartbeat. All right, moving on. Again, a couple months ago, Las Vegas released what could be the win totals for some teams, and what and Vegas is pretty on the ball with it, with their picks, simply because of, again, what kind of technology is out there, what kind of up to the minute statistics there are out there, and again, the average fan has gotten smarter over the last couple of years in terms of being able to guess. So let's look at the over/under. Starting with the Cardinals, over or under 5.5 wins. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go slightly at 6, just because they got Carson. They have Carson Palmer now, who's a bigger upgrade than whatever they had last year. I mean, Kevin Cobb and the many quarterbacks that they used. I mean, this division is going to be really tough when you have San Francisco and St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis is not a terrible team when you have Sam Bradford healthy and a good offensive line, and of course you have Seattle, who could be a dark horse to get the Super Bowl. But I think 6 wins, it's great. I think that's a good solid pick. Atlanta, over under 10 wins. Ooh, man, I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go slightly over at 11. This team was very good. They were only they were one game away from getting to the big game last year. So I personally think this team is gonna do well. Granted, this team's gonna be a lot. The schedule's probably gonna be a lot